Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome to the Champion Minded podcast, or welcome back to it. I'm Allistair McCaw. In this episode of What It Takes, I'm talking to Glasgow Rangers football team head coach Michael Beale. Now, I met Michael a few years ago at a Inspire football conference that was held by John True, that was in London. And then I've kept in touch with him ever since. And last time we actually saw each other was just a few months ago up in Glasgow Rangers, where he's based with obviously Steven Gerrard, Jordan Milsom, and a few great people up there, some great coaches there in the Glasgow team. A little bit of background about Michael. He has a wealth of experience, even though he's still very young in coaching terms. He's 39. But he spent 12 years at Chelsea working with Chelsea youth, and then he went across to Liverpool where he worked with the under-16s and then the under-23s. Then went to Sao Paulo where he was assistant coach, and then, like I said, he's up now at Glasgow Rangers. A super guy, super humble. He always has time for coaches. He's also very active on Twitter, so definitely check him out there. In this conversation, we talk about, amongst other things, the mindset of the players between, or the difference between the players in the UK and players in South America. He gives some great advice for young coaches out there. He also talks about the importance of not just coaching a game, but also coaching life lessons. And right here at Champion Minded, that's what it's all about. It's about excellence, not only in sports, but excellence in life as well. So I really enjoyed this one, guys. I have, first of all, a big apology to make. The quality of the audio is not great. I apologize. I don't know what happened. But hopefully you guys are still able to get a lot of good stuff out of this. So without further ado, here is Michael Beale. Michael, welcome.
Thanks, Allistair. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah. Now, you've been a busy guy. I've been obviously watching you on Twitter and social media and so on and so forth. And we're in the midst of the coronavirus break, which we're just chatting off air there, how crazy it's been. But it just seems like you've been busier than ever in this period.
Yeah, I think like, it's a great time. Like, work-wise, it's a really good time to sort of assess where you're at, like yourself, but also where the team's at and where the staff are at that you're working with. So there's a big part of that. There's a big part of planning for the future. I think we were in a really busy period as a team, so therefore I was as an employee of the team and a dad as well. So we played 53 games up until we break, so we were playing every 3 days. So having a bit of time at home with the family, a bit of time to think and breathe is good. And then you get into some projects that you've had on a hold, so it gives me an opportunity to maybe go on to 1 or 2 podcasts where I've had requests and not had the time. It gives me a chance to finish off a book that I've had sort of in the pipeline for a few months, and also to start talking to some people and some friends and some interesting people professionally that I've not had the chance to. Life's been really busy, so in this period I can be busy with the things that I've not been able to do before.
Now you see, what you've just said there right now, and one of the things I track are the commonalities and traits of successful people, Michael. And there you are. You've taken this opportunity to get in a lot of other stuff. You've, what you've read. How many books do you have now, Michael? 2, 3?
No, this is like the one that's come out recently is number 12, mate.
So my goodness.
It's the first of 3 years, which gives you an idea. Like the last few years, obviously I've got 2 boys who are 6 and 8, and I've got a young daughter now who's 9 months. So the last few years, adding the second child and the third child, and the pressure of the jobs, it's meant I haven't been able to write. But it's interesting because, I think mentoring coaches or passing down advice or sharing sideways advice is really important. You can mentor 1 or 2 people, but by sharing things out on a bigger, wider audience, I think you get out to more people, and that's why I do it, really.
Well, Michael, that's what struck me about you. I mean, obviously, I've met you a few years back, and when you're over here in Florida with the with Sao Paulo, if you remember the off-season tour you guys did in down in IMG. Mm-hmm. But that's what's always struck me about you, Michael, is that you find time for younger coaches, other people out there. You give back. It's speaking to a lot of people that know you. They speak highly of you with that regards, that you always have time. You always have time to, even though you're super, super busy, you always have time to give a podcast or give a bit of a word of encouragement in that. So kudos to you, man. I mean, 12 books, that's just ridiculous. I mean, here I am thinking I'm doing pretty well with 4. So nice job, mate. Nice.
There's a difference between my books and yours. Yours is real written, hardcore words and philosophy, and mine are more practices. So I would say the content you have in 4 is greater the value than the content I have in 12. Mine's practices, and that's a lot easier to put together.
No, well, obviously, we have different markets and so on, and you are in the coaching industry and so on. But I also know that speaking to you in the past, that you very much are almost like a life coach as well, Michael. Would you agree with that? You're not just, you've been working. You worked with a lot of youth. You worked with the Chelsea youth. You worked with the Liverpool under 16s, under 23s. But you also have, you also have a lot of time for the younger athletes and just their lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think that's what coaching is. I think people get wrapped up with what happens maybe in the team session or the training session between maybe 11 and 12:30 or whatever time it is you train each day. And I think they don't realise it's how that athlete arrives to your session. So, a lot of coaching or guiding, what I call it, is life coaching. And I'm a big pusher of this you versus yourself mentality. It's something that I didn't come across until I stopped playing as an athlete myself. And I wish I had that mentality then, but I've certainly had it in my coaching career. And the reason I think it's something I like sharing out is it's been really important to me. Do you know what I mean? The aims and the goals and working backwards from where I want to get in my coaching career has really helped me, and therefore I want to try and share that with the athletes I work with and make sure they're focusing on themselves, because we're in a world now where everything's sort of like accessories for other people to look at, and like a profile that maybe is not real or that doesn't show humility. So I'm really important with young players, putting that into them.
Now, I read an article of yours, Michael, probably about a year ago, is when you were at Sao Paulo, and you were talking about the motivation of the kids in Brazil to the motivation of, say, kids in the UK. What differences did you see there in their motivation? Like kids of 15, 16, maybe a very, very high level. Of course, there's no guarantee in sports that you're going to make it to the highest level, but what was the difference you saw in, say, the South American kids and kids in the UK?
I just think it's a more simple life. So there's less accessories in certain parts of the world, and definitely in certain parts of the UK as well, and the US. There's the haves and the have-nots, and I think that just the sheer joy of playing football and the honour of representing one of the Brazilian clubs was big. I also thought they needed to play football rather than wanted, and it was a different level of need, because maybe it was an escape route. I don't think we only see that in sport. We might see that in music as well, and performing arts in general. But it's an opportunity for someone to better their life. So therefore, the need to do it was greater than maybe the want of kids in the majority of kids in the UK, that if they don't make it as a football player, they can fall into other jobs and have a decent life. And I just feel that what I saw in South America was a real need. The word desperation is wrong. I like to use the word need, because I think if they could make it as a football player, they could pay for their whole family to have a better life.
Now, I want to stay there in Sao Paulo for now. I mean, obviously that was a massive change. It's on the other side of the world. Obviously, we know Sao Paulo has an incredible history, fanatic supporters. How was that experience for you, Michael? That must have been like really different.
Yeah, it was everything that I wanted it to be. It was a chance for me to go and work at first team football for the first time, to live in a different country and another culture, but also to learn a second language. My big thing when I was leaving the UK was I'd worked with a lot of British players, a lot of European players, and I was starting to understand a lot about cultures and managing the person that was in front of me and how he saw the game differently to another one. And I thought a blind spot was South America, for example, so when the opportunity came, it was great. But I also know that on my you versus yourself, I needed to learn a second language, and I still need to stay at that. But I felt that was a great opportunity to go across and just step out of my comfort zone. I just felt that I was in a wonderful job, but was I comfortable? And if I had to ask myself that question, I already knew the answer.
Now, obviously, I mean, as we just mentioned, you had a lot of experience. You were at Chelsea for 12 years, Liverpool for 5, Sao Paulo, I think, for a year, and then now, obviously, at Glasgow Rangers. So, I mean, you've been at some massive clubs. How has the transition been for you going from club to club? I mean, those are massive clubs. How's that been?
Well, London is really diverse. So, you have a lot of different types of players, and a lot of people come to live in London. So there's a lovely mix, and the recruitment of players into the Chelsea academy was always ready for, because there was lots of people, and the style of play you played was to the players that you had, which was very diverse. So that was really interesting. And then leaving there to go and work at Liverpool, it was different in the north of England. There was a different culture. It was different to what I'm from London, so I understood the London culture, and I understood the differences in the slight differences in the different parts of London. But then going to the north of England was different. So you have to work out the culture of the club. The players that you're working with are more one type, they're less diverse, there's less people coming into the area, so I think you have to be more patient in your coaching. I think you have to be a slightly better coach as well, because that patience and that eye for recruitment and that eye for real fine detail in coaching, you needed a little bit more than what you needed in London. That was really interesting. And then going to Brazil spun both of them things on their head, because you went to somewhere where there was players that came from poverty, but at the same time they were the young players that come from poverty I saw. But obviously I was working with millionaires now in the first team, so that was really interesting to go into a different culture, how you're perceived as a European and an Englishman in South America, where obviously in Brazil everyone knows the level of talent they've had down the years, and again coming back to Rangers now, there's obviously the sectarianism of Glasgow, the Protestant and the Catholic support, which is fierce until you actually live in it. I don't think you realise how fierce. And there's obviously the Scottish culture and mentality as well that you're learning. So I think for me as a coach, like every step I've taken has knocked me on such a long way. And I'm pleased that I've done it, although at times you have to take big risks in your career,
Michael, I mean, so much experience, and you're not even 40 yet, are you? You're 39?
39, mate, yeah. Don't just whisper that. I'm 40 later this year.
Hey, listen, I've got a few years on you, so it's not that bad. I'll just give you a heads up, so... No, but I mean, at 39, I mean, obviously with that amount of experience, mate, that's incredible. But, you've made it happen. You've gone out and made it happen, and this is one of the messages I try to get out to younger coaches out there. They look at a guy like you and they think, well, that's where I want to be, but they don't know that overnight success has taken you 25 years or 20 years or whatever it may be, and it's grinding every day, it's pushing every day, it's following up phone calls, it's knocking doors. What advice would you give for young coaches out there? Because they see you sitting on the bench on a Saturday or a European night, you know what I mean, sitting on the bench there with Stephen, and they think, well, that's where I want to be. But what would be your advice to some young coaches that would love to be where you are?
I think you've got to invest in yourself, and I think you've got to know where you want to go. You might fall a little bit short of that, or you might end up on a journey thinking you knew where you want, and end up somewhere else, which has happened. Has happened to me in some cases. I've never ever felt comfortable in any job where I felt, oh, this is the level. I'm drowning here because the level's high. And so I've always just kept searching for more. And my journey is about my own self-discovery. So it's not really about anybody else. It's just about me, my own self-discovery, and and just trying to improve myself. And then it came down to it's me v me, or you versus you, or whatever, or impress yourself, or whatever the words that you want to use. But it generally is that. When I started out coaching at 21, I came from a position of pain because I hadn't made it as a player. And I said, well, I'm going to make it there as a coach then. I'm going to make it there as a coach. And at the time, I had an idol, which was Bobby Robson, the big famous English coach that went to work for Barcelona. And the reason he was my idol is I didn't think the British coaches were respected outside of the UK. None of us even spoke a second language, and he'd gone to manager of Barcelona. And I thought, well, I don't want to do what the normal English coaches do. I want to do that. So I knew I could get the second language at some stage, but at the same time in my head, I thought, if I ever make it to be an under-18s coach at a good club, then that's fantastic. That would be my dream job. And I set myself to 40 to do it. So it was like I wanted to be a manager, but I would settle for that, which was still really high aim because I was nobody in the game. And then at 33, I was already the Liverpool under-23s coach. So then what do you do then? You have to reassess. And really, I had to make some tough decisions along the way. And I think that's my advice to young coaches is that, don't be satisfied, or like I've took losses in salaries, and I've moved my family around the world, and I've moved from one end of England to the other, and I've made tough decisions. Of every job I've left, it's broke my heart because I've given my heart and soul to it, but I also loved it. So Chelsea, I was a Chelsea fan. So when I left there, I took a big pay cut to go to Liverpool. And then when I left Liverpool to go to Sao Paulo, I genuinely thought I was in a club that really respected me, and I'd fallen in love with the club. And then to leave Sao Paulo after 8 months and come back home was a big drag. And then to resign from Liverpool for the second time again. But I suppose it's just searching for that next challenge, and that's what I'd advise people to do. It's like, just keep shuffling yourself down and keep searching for the next part of excellence in your journey, I would say.
What are some of the ways you invest in yourself, Michael, on a daily basis? Do you intentionally, invest in yourself daily, if you know what I'm talking about? Like you read and so on and so forth? What are some of the ways?
Yeah, be more disciplined in it, if I'm honest. Like, I'm frustrated myself over languages. I'm frustrated that I've got like a stack of books. I buy all the books that I think are interesting, and they sit on the best side table. I need to pick them up more. And I'm really intrigued at the moment about individual sports, because I really think that the team sports have to become much more individualised, and it's about improving yourself to improve the team. So I read a lot of stuff around individual sports. I'm really keen on how in the NFL they manage all the players, for example, and because the amount of the squad, now they use unit coaches, and how them relationships are important to the team. And then you look at the NBA, which is completely different. So I'm really intrigued by different sports, but I'm obsessed. I'm an obsessive person, and it's hard to give advice to someone else to be obsessive. But I am certainly obsessive. Like, I don't stop. I'm at my best when I'm fully foot to the floor, and working every single day. I feel my best when I'm like that. Alistair. I don't, even in this period, the reason that I am being so busy is because I feel my best when I am that way. If I'm coaching Rangers' first team, when we finish, I want to watch reserve training, I want to watch one of the junior teams training, I want to listen to a podcast in the car on the way home, I want to watch football at home, I want to speak to someone like yourself. So it's an obsession, mate.
No, that definitely comes through, Michael. I mean, obviously, I was fortunate enough to pop up to the training ground there at Rangers and watch one of the sessions, and that just, that just shows as well. I mean, just your energy and your passion, and that comes right through as well, and especially on social media as well. So great stuff. Getting back to culture now, obviously we're talking about the culture of going to a different country and so on and so forth. Another type of culture is a winning team culture. What are some of the keys to a great team culture, Michael?
In my opinion, I think you have to have a clear identity, and what I would say is that's not around the style of the way you play. I would say it's a clear identity in terms of collective behaviours that you value as a group, and I think that the structure of their behaviours, I think they enable each player or each person within the team to bring their individual qualities, but them behaviours I would probably say are organisation, discipline, work ethic, just being professional, how you live your life. And I think that any team can choose to do them. but they're the talents that, very few people sort of respect as talents. Like anything you read about the All Blacks, for example, I think it's fantastic for people to understand in terms of an identity and a collective way of behaving. I think the elite teams also have some honesty, mate, and they have personality within them to speak honestly with each other and openly. But that's not easy to get nowadays because of the current generation, the technology generation that we have. And I think that's a big part of athlete development in their formative years, about teaching people how to speak and how to carry themselves as a person, which will help them in their adult professional careers. But if we stick on that in terms of identity, I think it's a load of collective behaviours, but I try to stay away from what people term as talent. Look how skillful he is, or look what a fantastic athlete he is, or look how many goals he scores. I think if you're talking about team culture, it has to be collective behaviours, in my opinion.
Now, obviously looking at Liverpool the last 3-4 seasons under Klopp, I mean, obviously he's done a big transformation there with the team culture. And reading an interview of his, he spoke about the importance of obviously finding players that chemistry was a massive thing for him. And you just mentioned it there now, like a player might be very, very talented, but there might not be a good fit in the team. Is that the way you look at players as well? That chemistry is a massive thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think I love recruitment of athletes because it's like identifying athletes, whether that person's 27, 30, 21, because you're thinking about that full mix of how they're going to fit in what we're doing, how they're going to fit in our environment, probably more important than how they're going to fit into our team, because they fit into the environment first. I do think that the team picks players. I always say that about young players that come from an academy. The coach brings you up to the first team because they think you've got potential. The senior players will pick you. And we talk about that a lot with young players, about would your teammates pick you. So I do think when you're recruiting players, you're recruiting for style, but you're recruiting for your environment. And your environment should be sacred because you get to choose who's in it. And you get to choose the behaviour. So it's your little community. And, you go to work every day. Any sports team is a really positive place. People are not excessively drinking, not excessively gambling or taking drugs or things like that. These are young people with real big aims and goals, and they're fit. And they're living in the prime moments of their lives. It's important that you invest in the right people. I think that Jurgen's a real prime example of this, because I was only there as reserve manager when he came in, and the club was in a good way under Brendan Rodgers. But a lot of the things that he speaks about are the things that I talked about there in culture. Like he relies on a lot of the human elements of hard work, ambition, dedication to your career and the way you live and how you carry yourself as a person. He always talks about that, even when his team plays. I very rarely hear him talk about tactics. He's not someone who's obsessed in the media at talking about the tactical side of the game. He's always talking about the human qualities. And I think, he speaks a lot with optimism, which is good for a leader. He shows humour. But also in the recruitment, I think he's got a very clear picture in his mind of what he wants to recruit, both as a person and on the pitch, and that's huge, I think.
Well, talking about Liverpool, obviously, Steven Gerrard needs no introduction. He's the manager at Rangers, and you were one of the first guys he obviously contacted. But what's it like working alongside Steven?
Well, I think I enjoy it every day because Steven Gerrard, and I get to pick the brains of him and Gary McAllister, who's his assistant. Two wonderfully gifted players for many years. I get to pick their brains every day, and I get to learn about elite athletes. And these were elite athletes that played to their mid to late 30s and started out early with national team captains. And so I get to pick the brains and see the traits of them. So it's fascinating for me as a learning coach as well. And the one thing I've picked up from him is that he's obsessive as well. He's obsessive, and that I know why he was such a good player, because I see it every single day and how he's trying to be obsessed to be a good coach and a good leader now. So it's fascinating for me. As a person, I think he gives people so much time. He's a very, very good people person. When he talks within the group, he holds the group very well. He's got a lot of time for these young men that obviously look up to him as an idol, and I think he's broke down a lot of barriers by just how humble and he is with them, and how personal he is with them. And so it's great, in terms of a manager, how does he manage me and the other staff? Well, he gives us a lot of responsibility, if I'm honest, Allistair. You've been there and you've seen that firsthand. He chose me to come in to be his first team coach, and he gives me a lot of autonomy. We sit and we speak about things, but he allows me to work and gives me a lot of freedom. And I'm very thankful for that. Very few people under the pressure that Stephen's under would give their staff that amount of responsibility, I feel.
Yeah. It's just fascinating because it's been maybe 4 years since he retired? How long has it been now since he...
Yeah, he stopped in Galaxy probably 4 years ago. He came back, he worked in the academy while I was away in Brazil. He came in to just work across every age group, and then he took the under-18s team for one season before coming here, and we've been here together now for 18 months. So it's been, it's been a really fast transition from, playing at the elite level to then obviously managing at it.
What struck me when I was there at your Rangers facility was late in the afternoon, we walked past the gym and Stephen was in there training. I mean, he looks still as fit as he was when he was playing.
Yeah, he's probably smaller. He hasn't obviously shrunk in height or whatever physique. He keeps himself fit. He's still a young man. He's 39 himself, but he's actually smaller. When I coached him, he's someone, like a lot of athletes, you'll meet them in their normal clothes or in their training kit, if you like. And you go, I thought it was going to be bigger, or I thought this, or I thought that, I thought it was more toned or whatever. And then when they put the kit on, it's like they kit up well. Do you know what I mean? I think anyone who works with professional athletes gets that. It's like players look different in the week, and then when they put the kit on, because when they put the kit on, they also bring a different level of focus and a different level of like on match day. It's just different. And he was someone I was always like, wow, he looked powerful, as a player. And I'm not saying completely lost that. I was just saying that when you coached him, when he was at Liverpool, and I was lucky enough to be around the sessions at Melbourne, and then obviously seeing him play at Anfield for Liverpool for them years, he really was someone that when he put his kit on, he just looked automatically bigger,
As a player, Michael, what made him such a great leader?
I think example, mate. He led by example on a daily basis, in the small details. Jermaine Defoe does that now for us, at 37, 38. Jermaine is the best in terms of his diet, fantastic in terms of how he lives his life off the pitch. He's pre-ab before sessions, just his general focus, especially in the bits that are very important for Jermaine, like the finishing. So Stephen was like that, any passing, any possession, anything that was getting ready towards the game, real serious. Doesn't mean they don't have a humble side or humility or any humour in their personality. Of course they do, but they're very, very driven, inwardly driven, and I think that just rubbed off on others, and obviously his performances on the pitch, they speak for themselves, but there's more than that to be a captain of a huge club like Liverpool. There's a lot of things off the pitch that people don't see, whether it's taking a player for a coffee or someone new coming into the club making them settle. So I believe he's been managing probably since his early 20s, but not realised it, but has been managing, because he's been doing a lot of them things, Allistair.
Now, Michael, this is obviously a question I get asked quite a lot, not just in obviously football, but all sports. But, how important is it, or should I say, does a great player make a great coach?
Well, I think what you need to have now is the job's vast is the easy answer to that, in my opinion. The job's vast. So what type of coach are you going to be? So are you going to be the field coach? Are you going to be the person that deals with the board and the media and manages the contracts and the team? Are you going to be a tactician? Are you going to be a motivator? Are you going to be someone that tries to take over the whole club, from the academy all the way to the first team, the board, the media and everything? I think the jobs now are really vast, and I think what you have to be, if you're an ex-player, is you understand the pressures, you understand the life of a player, you understand big game mentality, if you're going to be a successful one. So then what are the grey areas? Well, you might not know how to set up a session. You might know what you want to say in it, but you might not be able to get the flow and delivery of the session. You might not know about contracts, so you might need, in them two positions, you might need a first team coach, you might need a sporting director around you. then you might not understand GPS and how the physical week should look. You knew what it felt like when you did it, but you might not be able to put it into play. So you'll need a good header performance. So you'll need, you'll need good medical, good nutrition. You need all them people around you, good analysts. And they can bring your vision to life. And then I think you can go from being a good player to a good coach. Because all it is you're trying to put your vision across. But you need people to help you put that vision across. And I think now there's almost a recipe for success and failure. And let's be honest, the fine margins between the two. But I think there's a recipe, there's a group of coaches coming out of the game now, of players that are coming out of the game now that are going into coaching. And they've been well educated on the courses they go on about having a support network around them. It's taken me 20 years to get my delivery right. It's taken me 20 years to understand the physical periodisation that you need during the season and during the week and every single day to work well with the sports scientist here, Jordan. So you can't expect Stephen or any ex-player to have that straight away, but what they have is the mentality of being an elite athlete. They understand the game, they understand the dressing room, they understand the mentality of the players, they understand the game tactically. So you have to align all that with different staff. And so the answer is yes, they can be successful, but they have to be smart.
No, that's good advice. Especially in the tennis tour, probably in the last 5-6 years, there's been a comeback of the old former players. Becker, Boris Becker, Stefan Edberg worked with Federer, and it's not necessarily these guys have coached, but they've been brought in to help the players handle moments, the bigger moments, the more pressure moments. So it's very, very interesting to see, why these guys have been brought in is that, like I said, they haven't coached much. They haven't, been in an academy or whatever it may be, but they're brought in to help the Federers and the Novaks deal with the pressure moments. And I find that so fascinating as well. Michael, just swinging in a slightly different direction here. I wanted to get your advice. It fascinates me still. And I'm going to admit this. I do have a Leicester City shirt because of their 2016 win. I'm a big fan of Liverpool, lifetime fan of Liverpool, as you know, but I wanted to ask you about the 2016 Leicester team, what the keys were to that crazy season. I mean, here we had a team that was, I don't know, on paper, not worth more than 20 million, was it? And they brought in Ranieri, which they thought was crazy as well. And then they went on to win the league. What were some of the keys to that success?
I think simplicity was huge. I thought they had good leadership from the coach as well. He handled the media so well, Ranieri, that season. And he also handled the media very well into Chelsea many years before. And was unfortunate to lose his job. So I think he had a lot of the media that wanted him to do well as well. And I just felt that no one really believed Leicester were going to do it other than the people inside. They were extremely fit, extremely organised, and the way they played was tactically very simple. The team on paper, you're right, it wasn't the most expensive team to assemble. When you go and look at the sum of the parts now, then they had a backbone of real experience. And then they brought in people like Mahrez and Kante, who were unbelievable finds by the club. So they recruited extremely well. They were a humble team, and every player was hungry for success. And for whatever reason, everything aligned. But I felt that at Leicester, good things were happening anyway. It was just, I don't know, that season it caught wind in their back, and they had flow. And it's amazing, I think they've been very successful as a club now for probably 6 or 7 years, and they've had really good ownership and leadership in that time. And it came out on the pitch that season, and I think it just surprised everyone. It's such a pleasing thing, because the issue with professional sports in the main is that the teams that spend the most money are at the top of the league, which is horrible for us coaches, because it says that we're not that important, because the top of every league generally is the team that's got the most money, or the top three are divided by that. So to have a team like Leicester, I just thought was brilliant for football in general.
Yeah, it was an absolute fairy tale, wasn't it? I mean, but there's another thing as well, looking at it, I mean, how important is it for a team to get off to a good start, right? I mean, their first game was against Southampton, I think it was, where they won 4-1. and then they were top of the league after 2 or 3 games, and it's so important to get that good start, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it makes everything that you've done in the pre-season correct as well, Allistair. All them days that you've given up, a lot of pre-season, it's a lovely time because the weather's good and you may travel to a foreign tour or something like that, or a camp, but you're away from your family, you're living extremely strictly in terms of your diet, you're training more than ever. It's very physical, it's a very mentally tough time because it's all about the work that you've done prior to the camp and in the camp. And I think to have a good start to the season, it makes all that right, and it mentally it leaves you in a very, very good place, because whether it be the tactical work of the team or the physical work you've done as an individual and the sacrifice you've made, I think it's just that fantastic feeling when you've come out of pre-season and done it right. The end of every pre-season, every player will tell you that if they come through it uninjured, they've got a good chance of staying the whole season with that core of fitness. It will get them through the season. But you also, when you start the season, you're in a lovely place physically. You should be in a good place mentally as well. If you start to win, I think that just snowballs.
No, absolutely right. Yeah, I still honestly still see that as one of the most incredible things in sport. I mean, there were 5,000 to 1 odds. So just to give you an idea about that President Obama was going to play cricket for England. The odds were higher on that one. And that Elvis was still alive. So, I mean, just shows you that sport's an amazing thing. I mean, 5,000 to 1. Not going to take too much of your time, Michael, because I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate this time as well. So if you were to go back 10 years, or let's just say to the beginning of your coaching career, what would you do differently? Or what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself to do all of the things I was doing. So what people won't know, which I really want to elaborate on here, is that I started coaching in the church hall. And very individual-based futsal, and that kept me in a good stead. It was called Brazilian Soccer Schools. It was a franchise. That's what started me off. And it's amazing I ended up going to work in Brazil after that, because it's... that's just absolutely crazy. I would say be true to your beliefs. I think that's something. If you think the games you played a certain way, be really be true to it. Take the gambles you took. I worked in women's football, I worked in disability football, I worked in college schemes. I was working for 4 or 5 teams while I was part-time at Chelsea, doing just coaching all mixed abilities. All of that has helped me in my delivery, in my flow, in how I communicate and carry a group. Going to the move from Chelsea to Liverpool was paramount to my development as a coach. The move to Sao Paulo also, but the only things I would sort of tick myself off or tell myself off is don't resign from Liverpool because you're living the best moment of your life. But you did it for the right reasons. And then I would also say don't resign from Sao Paulo, hang in there a bit longer, because you look back now and they were the days of your life as well. And why do you fail to dedicate yourself to the languages as much as you need to? So that's me telling myself off. There's been moments in my career which have been, I feel like all the decisions I made, but maybe it was like the Liverpool one. You only get to work with that group of players in that environment. It's a magical moment. So although I knew I needed to go to Brazil, I look back at it and go, and the same when I was in Brazil, I look back now and think that was a magical moment. But these things happen for a reason. But the language thing, I always have to tell myself off with. I went to Brazil because I wanted to learn the second language. I knew them skills would be fantastic for my career. I have to constantly challenge myself to stay on that, to keep making sure that, I'll stay on my Portuguese, can I add some Spanish or French or Italian? That is something that I always promote outwards, but it's something when I'm promoting it outwards, I'm talking to myself.
No, that's great advice. Absolutely. Now, I agree with you. When I was working with athletes, I worked with quite a few Russians, worked with a few Italians and so on. And that's one of the first things I did as well, was definitely, try to learn the language. I learned Dutch as well because I was living in Holland for a while. And, even though most people can speak English, I say most, but just the respect you get from other people, from other nations, other cultures, that you're at least trying.
Yeah, and I think it's a great example for me to set for my children as well, because I think that if any parent could give something to their children, I think the biggest wealth you could give them is that second language. I think because it will give them an opportunity to travel and culture and open up a world of possibility to them in whatever profession they choose. And I think that the children are very big. My 6-year-old's got a coaching manual that he writes practices in, that him and his brother go and do in the garden. If that's not learning your dad in probably an unhealthy way, and I don't know what it is, it's incredible to see it, like what he writes down and what he sees, where... and that's obviously sat next to me when I've got my coaching book out, and it's like I'd much rather him take the second language off me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but it's amazing. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree there, by the sounds of it. So you got the next wave of Beale coaching academy coming through there, huh?
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed.
Excellent. Last question, Michael. This has been great. Thank you. In your opinion, what does it take to be champion-minded?
Me personally, I think it's a you versus yourself mentality. It's focusing on you and your aims. It's not looking sideways to compare only for inspiration. It's realising that you're unique. It's then trying to make that, that individual that you are. If you're in a team sport, it's making that selectable. It's being obsessive on that individual journey. And I think if you're in team sports, again, you've got to be selectable. So you've got to make your individual identity, this you versus you, it's got to fit in a well-oiled team and make the team better, because you're in a team sport. If you're in an individual sport, not so much, it's about you. But if you're in a team sport, I think you've got to be inspirational in your way to your teammates. And I think you've got to be unforgettable to your teammates. And if you can be that, then you'll be champion-minded. Whether that's being like Ray Lewis, or whether that's being, inspirational like Steven Gerrard, or I read a lovely quote about the Italian midfielder Paulo recently, where they said he led with his feet, which was very interesting. He was a fantastic passer. So I just think you've got to be inspirational, but I think that's it. You've got to be focused on you versus you, and I think it's looking sideways to compare things. It stops a lot of people on their journey to being champion-minded, because they're constantly trying to be someone else or add something else. I think you've just got to realise that your moment will come if you focus on you and impress yourself. I think that's such a big thing in life, like impress yourself, and then you'll be doing it for the right reasons. And individual sports, obviously, it stops there. That drive and ambition of developing yourself, but to be in a team is different. And I think young people got to understand how to be selectable, how to play a part in a team, and how to be inspirational within it.
No, excellent advice. Michael, if anybody wants to follow you out there, what are the best ways of doing that?
Twitter's probably the best way, at Michael Beale. I put a lot of rambling on there sometimes, it makes no sense, but hopefully you can get 1 or 2 nuggets from it. So yeah, at Michael Beale, and you can get all my stuff from there.
No, I certainly enjoy following your Twitter. You've got a massive following now, Michael.
Yeah, I think a lot of them Brazilians, they don't understand what you're writing down. They don't understand English. But yeah, I think I've been very fortunate with the clubs that I've worked for. The passionate fans. All 4 clubs are huge worldwide in terms of the brand. So a lot of following comes from that, I feel.
Excellent. And your new book, what's the name of your new book, Michael?
It's 11v11 tactical games. I'm at that stage now where I'm obviously working at first team level, so a lot of the books that I've written previous were for sort of like primary school or preschool, and then high school or secondary school in the UK. And this is the first time I've written about big boys football or big level football, really. And so it's a collection of games to just make it quite simple to get your tactical ideas across to your team, to build an identity. And it's an e-book you can get online.
And where can they get that online? Is there any particular place?
Yeah, the link's via my Twitter account, so they can go via my blog, which is michaelbealecoaching.com, which I blog on occasionally, and the links and that are there. So and if anyone does, it'd be great to receive some feedback on it as well. So I'm trying to improve myself.
Awesome stuff, Michael. Always a pleasure, mate. I'll let you get back to your family there. And stay safe. Thanks again.
Top man, Allistair, anytime, mate.
So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one with Michael Beale. Again, my apologies for the poor audio there. Hopefully you guys are still able to get something from that. Remember, this podcast is available on YouTube and on iTunes. Connect with me on social media, on Twitter, at Allistair McCall, on Facebook, Allistair McCall page, and on Instagram, Be Champion Minded. So remember, you were made for greatness. Now go do the work. Stay champion minded.